One. Hey, what is going on, everybody? This is the D Train of Buddy, D Train, and Josh Talk Sports. And it is currently, while we're recording this, Wednesday, July 15th, my birthday, 20th birthday. Holla at your boy.
Happy birthday.
Hey,
At
happy birthday.
7:30 p.m. So this is
Happy
probably going to be
birthday.
going up in a day or two. And a lot going on in the world of sports. Despite no new games or anything like that, a lot of news, players with this, players with that, players opting out. You know, what do we want to dive into first? Because there's a lot going on in baseball, NBA, basketball. That is the NBA, the NFL, and the NCAA. So where do we want to dig in first, boys? What are we thinking?
I'm thinking let's start with the NBA.
Okay, we'll start it off. So big news out of there: players being able to put social justice statements on their jerseys instead of their last name. It's going to be their social justice out of a list of names there. And some interesting stuff coming out of that. LeBron James has said that he's choosing not to put any phrase or slogan on the back of his jersey. He's just going to keep it James. Jimmy Butler is not going to have anything. Strange. But
Sure.
all right, Jimmy. You do you, Jim. All right. And then some guys are having Alex Caruso said that he's going to have Black Lives Matter. And that's all that I know of off the top of my head of guys that have already said what they're going to have. I'm sure there's guys, other people are going to have stuff, but, I don't know. I think it's interesting. It's pretty cool. It's different. And we'll see where it goes. What do you guys think about it?
I think it's pretty cool. You're allowing them to use their platform to speak out on issues that we have in the world, without trying to get too political or whatever. But, it's happening, and it's important for people to know and discuss about it. So I think it's pretty cool of the NBA to do this, because a lot of sports, like, commissioners and stuff don't believe in stuff like that. So I think it's cool that the NBA is actually allowing people to, do stuff like that. So pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, like you said, and in a way, I think it's, great that, they use the platform that they have, especially with the level of what's going on today, and how in many ways they, see that everyone's coming together to do something with this, the amount of, success and platforms that they have. And I like the Black Lives Matter thing. I think that's a great way to put it. I like how people putting other things, putting the names of other people, like Brenda Taylor, God rest her soul, and other names like, George Floyd. So I think it's pretty cool. And I'm glad that the NBA is allowing them to do that,
Now, I don't to take this too political, but one thing that some people that are just haters have pointed out is that Trump 2020 isn't one of the options on there, and nor is Biden 2020. Do you guys care about that? Because quite frankly, I can give.
Honestly, I really
none.
I do not care about that, honestly, and I don't think that should be an issue, because it's not, like I said, it's not about that. That's not what's going on in the world right now. It's more important things. So I mean, I don't really care for it, but I could see why some people would, because that's important to them, I guess, whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That just doesn't matter to me, honestly.
Wait, putting like the presidential?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's another phrase I was gonna bring up afterwards.
I don't think that should be like a phrase, because I don't feel like that would go well with other people. You know what I mean? Because like, say someone wants to put like a Trump 2020 or a Biden 2020, not a lot of people are gonna like that. They're not gonna agree with those people, and especially with what's going on with cancel culture right now. They're already gonna get canceled as it is. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't, if I was a player, I wouldn't put that name on my jersey. One of the names. I'm not saying that.
So, and then the other phrase that a lot of people have been asking for is free Hong Kong. Obviously, this goes back to something way earlier in the season when teams were still playing. While we're still at OWWR at the college. the NBA has a lot of business in China, and China does a lot of business with the NBA.
Yeah.
The team at the tip of the spear for that is the Houston Rockets, just kind of giving background.
It's true.
And Daryl Morey, general manager of the Houston Rockets, tweeted free Hong Kong, and he was talking about the injustices going on over there from the Chinese government. And a lot of people, LeBron James included, criticized him for it.
Mm.
And the whole situation was very ugly,
Mm-hmm.
I guess is a good way of putting it. At the time, there were teams there in China doing, I guess, like an outreach exhibition type thing. One of the teams being the Brooklyn Nets. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that should be on there to keep it fair and keep it even, or do you guys feel like at this point in time, there's other things that have a more pressing manner?
Well,
Interesting.
personally speaking, you brought up the Rockets, so I also have to bring up the great Yao Ming. Thank you for everything you did for the Rockets. So when you really think about that, you have to think about the different cultures. Like I said, everything right now is about culture. That's just, the direction that everything is headed. So I say yes, because you have to if you're going to support Black Lives Matter, you also have to support other things that are happening in the world as well.
Exactly.
I
Yes,
feel like
that's
that is very important. Some people are going to feel mixy about it. That's understandable. Just like some people feel about Black Lives Matter. That's okay. But I feel like they do deserve that. It's a lot of terrible things happening in Hong Kong. So
right. Yeah.
I do feel like I feel like that's okay, in my opinion. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people are starting to realize, like I posted something on my story today. Dennis, I don't know if you saw that. It was about Kareem Abdul Jabbar. He posted something that I'll read it to you guys right now. He said that, and this was from, it's loading up right now. This was from Bleach Report. In the quote, he said, "If we're going to be outraged by injustice, let's be outraged by injustice against anyone." And when I look at that, I think people are starting to now realize, especially someone with that platform, think of it, the person who has the most points ever in basketball history. I like how he says that, like we all should be, like shocked at the injustice by everyone. I feel like everyone's starting to realize, like, that everything needs attention. All, like, I feel like not, just one particular thing. And I feel like, we need to look at it now, like the Black Lives Matter movement has kind of maybe brought up that, uprising to now people starting to realize and take more serious about other cultures. I'm not saying that they have been a big part. I mean, I don't agree with some of the stuff they're doing. I'm not gonna lie, but I'm starting to see how like everyone is starting to have that effect on each culture. I'm sure
Yeah.
D-Train.
Yeah, you guys brought up really good points, and obviously last week with the whole Kareem Abdul-Jabbar thing, when he was talking about, in particular,
Talking about the anti-Semitic.
the anti-Semitic remarks about that Deshaun Jackson had
Nick Cannon.
made. Nick Cannon today had made some. Steven Jackson had made some. So he was talking more about that, and that whole situation was kind of ugly to me. Quoting Hitler and all that stuff. Because I mean, I'm not Jewish, I'm Catholic, but my great-grandparents were victimized by Nazi Germany when they were living in Poland, and they're actually put into slavery. So the whole thing was kind of like struck a nerve with me on a personal level. So and I always liked Steven Jackson. I even as a Giants fan, I always liked Deshaun Jackson because I just respected how good he was.
Yeah, no, he was good. He's still good.
The whole thing, so many people came out looking ugly, and ignorance from everyone, regardless of what color to what color, ignorance is ignorance. Ignorance is no color. And I felt like, it was good that Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who is very political when he was a player in the 60s and 70s, which you could only imagine the difference between what's accepted now and what was accepted for him then, choosing to boycott the Olympics and choosing to, become Muslim and whatnot, very big things that he went through at the time. And it was good to see like a player like of that caliber and of that I guess kind of background step forward and say, guys, let's call a spade here. And I thought that was very powerful. And I think people in general forget that a lot of athletes, like athletes being political and whatnot, isn't new. Bill Walton, he was a player in college, got arrested for participating in a anti-Vietnam War protest as a college athlete. Bill Walton got arrested. So, I mean, like, you know, that's just crazy. It's crazy that, you know, back then a lot of similar things now that we're talking about now were being spoken about back then. And even flash forward to the 2000s and Steve Nash being critical. I'm actually wearing a Steve Nash jersey. How I'm a boy. But being critical of the war in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq. So it's very interesting to see, you know, how players have become political and outspoken. And now, sadly, we're also seeing the downfall of players being outspoken and problems that come with players being ignorant.
Yeah.
But I'm happy that I'm happy that the dust is kind of starting to settle, and Deshaun Jackson and Steven Jackson had apologized, and I think it was meant genuine, you know, from here.
Right. I mean, in a way, some of the
yeah, and I respect the hell out of Julian Edelman for what he did, saying to Deshaun Jackson, "Hey, you know, I'll take you." Julian Edelman being a Jewish man playing in the NFL for the New England Patriots, saying, "Hey, I'll take you to the Holocaust Museum in Washington D.C., and then I'll go to a African American History Museum in Washington D.C. and we'll talk about it, you know, over lunch or dinner, and you know, we'll just, you know, extend the olive branch." And I like that a lot. I think that kind of like maturity is what everybody needs in the world, and I respect it.
Yeah, and I think that was the most important thing, you know, because, you know, the NFL is very broad and, like, having people from different, like, ethnic groups and culture, and it's important to teach, you know. I would say that the only worst thing about, like, not knowing something is if you're never taught, you know, if nobody ever tries to explain to you, like, why it was wrong, and, you know, and I feel like him really telling him, you know, what the issue with what he said, because I don't feel like he said it a way to harm anyone. I really do believe that. So he just needed to know the history behind all the history. You know, everybody doesn't know all the history, you know, so it's important for the people that go through that and know about that situation to teach. And, you know, and I'm very, very pleased with the way that he handled the situation, you know, by just wanting to teach him. And, you know, I applaud both of them. So that's huge, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And I think I want to point back to what I said. I mean, I feel like I said, in a way, there's many issues that go on in the world today. And like you said, Josh, so I feel like, you know, I'm not trying to praise the Black Lives Matter movement, but I'm saying I feel like they maybe started chains of other reactions from other people. And like you said, how, like, there's been a lot of anti-Semitic comments going on lately. And I feel like a lot of people, like I said, like Julian Edelman, are trying to, like, speak up and and there's other awarenesses too. There's many stuff going on in the world today. I feel like we all need to come together. And I feel like that's the issue today. I feel like we're so divided in a way where it's hard for everybody to come together. And it just, in the world today, you know, but just peace and love. That's why I always tell people, when I'm always with people, I don't discriminate against anybody. Dang, but people make jokes about different races all the time. You know, some people take them offensive, and some people need to realize that, you know, there's some places you could say things and some things you can't. I'm not saying they're right at all, but there's most of the times they're not. But the point I'm trying to get is that we all just need to come together and just realize that I just don't know how to say it. I can't express it. It's just hard, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So anything else to add on this topic, or do you want to keep moving along? How do you two? I said everything that I wanted to say.
Yeah, same.
Okay, we'll keep it moving. Also out of the NBA, Victor Oladipo of the Indiana Pacers opting out of playing in the bubble. Now, this is interesting because he's not sick, and right before the bubble, during that suspended part of the season, right before that happened, he came back from a brutal injury. So I think a lot of fans in Indiana wanted to see him come back, with added rest and added rehab, better than ever with Domantas Sabonis, Malcolm Brogdon, and those boys, and just, go for it. And I think that team looked really good on paper, going into the bubble. I actually thought that they might have been one of my favorites to come out of the East. But now losing your your second best player, oof, tough. I feel like people overlook how tough the East is, man. They got the Raptors, the defending champions. They got the 76ers looking good. And the 76ers just said that Ben Simmons is going to be a power forward for them. He's
Power forward.
be a power forward, not a point forward, anything. He's going to play the 4. And then the Bucks, obviously, with Giannis, who's most people's favorite to win the MVP and some people's favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year. Then you got the Celtics led by Kemba Walker and all those role players, very reminiscent of almost like the 2000s Pistons, where they're not the very best in the league at anything, but they're very good at everything. So loaded East, Domantas Sabonis, Malcolm Brogdon, and the Pacers, they're going to have a lot on their hands going in there without their guy. What do you guys think? Do you guys think that the Pacers can still make it to the playoffs, still be one of the top 16 teams? Or do you think that it's too much, it's too loaded, being that teams from the East and West are going to be playing each other, and it's going to be 1 through 16 regardless of conference? Do you guys think the Pacers are going to have a shot?
I think the most worrying thing is you can't start off slow. And like you said, with the East being such a great, just being so great, it's just, you just hope they don't start slow. Because at that point, you start slow with all those great teams there, it's going to be really tough for you. And, and like you said already, like if Victor doesn't play, that's going to be very hard for them. He's a very important player on their team. So that'll be huge for them. So I would say if they start off slow, then no, I don't think so. If they can manage somehow to find a way to keep fighting without Victor, if he doesn't decide to play, then maybe they have a chance.
Yeah, I mean, I like what Josh said. Like, he can't get off to a slow start. I mean, think of it, they haven't been playing for like 3 months before, a very long time. I don't know how the rest of everyone else has been training during, quarantine and other stuff. So, I mean, I'd like to see how the Pacers, turn out. It's going to be pretty fun. I can't wait to have sports back in our lives. It's going to be a nice thing to see. I don't know how you guys feel, but, that'll be fun. And especially to see how everything plays out, like, to finish out the season. It's like they took a mini All-Star, like, vacation. Like, you know what I mean? You know how, like, you have the week off and you have the All-Star break and the dunk contest? You know what I mean? It's like they took, like, a 3-month break. So now you like to see how they come back and get back into action in that bubble.
Right. And going back to what Josh was talking about of them getting off to a slow start and whatnot, the other side of the pendulum, the other side of, they don't have Victor Oladipo, they're screwed. The other side of that is they're playing without him for 95% of the season. So maybe they're actually going to be almost better because they don't have to take time to reintegrate him into the offense, because he hasn't played with Malcolm Brogdon aside from maybe 6 games or so. Maybe this is better for them. Maybe, their rotations and whatnot, guys would be more comfortable, and maybe that'll make them even go farther. So it's going to be very interesting for the Pacers and even the Eastern Conference in general. There's a lot of really good teams in there. And I feel like people have been, talking bad about the Eastern Conference the past couple of years, but they're getting better. They're getting much better. And now with Brooklyn coming in with Jamal Crawford, picking up Jamal Crawford. What do you guys think about that? I love the move. He scored 51 points his last game on the Phoenix Suns. I mean, still got a nasty handle, man. He always had that gnarly handle. So we'll see.
I can't believe how he's been around the league for so long. He's like, Jesus, I didn't even know he was 40. He's been like around just as long as like Vince Carter has. What?
He's really that old?
I believe so, yeah. He's 40 years old.
Wow.
He's been in the league for a very long time. Like, when I think of him, I think of the Clippers and the Knicks. And,
Yeah. Wow.
He's loved in the league.
Good for him, though.
Yeah.
I didn't know he was. That's crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, he was on the Bulls too in the early 2000s when they got rid of after Michael Jordan, Tony Kukoc, Pippen left. They drafted Carlos Boozer. I think it was Carlos Boozer. And
Boozer. Really?
No, Tyson Chandler. I'm thinking of.
Tyson Chandler,
and,
really?
Jamal Crawford. Those were the two guys I went to go forward with Elton Brand. And then that team fell apart. But I can't remember if it was Boozer or Tyson Chandler now.
I think it was Tyson Chandler because Carlos Boozer can't be that old, in my opinion. I think it was Tyson Chandler.
I think he is, though.
I can't remember. I'll look it up.
I remember.
I'll get back to you.
I do remember him being on that Bulls team.
I don't know. Tyson Chandler.
Could have been, yeah. I don't know.
Tyson Chandler's pretty, he was,
I know Tyson.
He was pretty good.
Yeah, Tyson for sure. But I remember Boozer being on that team, though. I remember that.
He was on the team.
It wasn't him. It was Tyson Chandler.
Okay.
It was Tyson Chandler. I knew it. Yeah, because
Boozer was drafted by the Cavaliers in 2002.
Oh, okay.
And what year?
In 2002, the year before they got LeBron.
Oh, really?
And then he left in 2004, and then obviously we know he played with Utah from 2004 to 2010.
And then he went to the Bulls.
Then he went to the Bulls, and then played with Joakim Noah, D-Rose, right? Rip Hamilton, Kyle Korver.
Yeah. I was gonna say I remember him being on that Bulls team. So
yeah.
Okay, so it was that year. Okay, cool.
So
that's cool.
But yeah, Crawford's been around for a long time.
Oh yeah.
But I like the pickup. I like getting them getting another scorer. They're going in there without KD, going in there without Kyrie. So I think going in there with a good good scorer, a veteran, a good locker room presence, I think it's going to be good for them. And they still got Joe Harris. I think Dinwiddie or Karis LeVert, one of them opted out because I know that they were going into the bubble with 12 players, so they still have to get more guys. I know Michael Beasley they were in talks with, so we'll see. But hopefully Jeremy Lin. Really hope Jeremy Lin. If Lin Sanity comes in and he's hot with the shortened season, forget it. Jalen's gonna get two back-to-back rings, man. He got one in Toronto last year. My boy's gonna get another one.
I hope so.
Yeah, and there's still other free agents out there. Marcin Gortat hasn't been picked up. Lance Stevenson hasn't been picked up. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Darren Collison hasn't been picked up. So we'll see what happens. I
feel like that covers the NBA for right now.
Some big news coming out of the Rocket camp. Obviously, Russell Westbrook has COVID-19.
Yes.
James Harden will be joining everybody in the bubble now. I don't know why it took him so long. To me, maybe somebody had it and didn't say anything publicly. That's what it looks like to me, but I don't have sources or anything like that. I'm just a tool bag sitting in the den chit-chatting with the boys.
To piggyback off that,
yeah.
I listen to a lot of I'm Houston native, so everybody knows that by now. But so I listen to a lot of Houston podcasts. So the thing was, everybody was assuming that maybe he had COVID before because he was training a lot with Russell. And as we know, Russell came out and said how he had COVID. So you could only assume that, maybe he distanced himself because he was trying to maybe, quarantine himself before going into the bubble. That's kind of what I think. Obviously I have no source either, but that was just some of the assumptions that everybody was coming up with. But I'm very happy that he's there because I was going to be very worried without him, without Russell and him, we're going to be in trouble. So I have a better feeling, I'm not as stressed knowing that he's going to be there. But Russell is also trying his best to come back as well. So hopefully all goes well. He tests negative and he can get back to business, and we have a shot. So, yeah.
Wow.
Buddy, anything to add or?
Yeah, I mean, I was shocked when I heard Russell Westbrook was tested positive. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of shocking. It is. I feel like when you always hear like any player got the coronavirus, especially like a big time player, I feel like that's always like big news. I was just very shocked when I heard that. I was like, wow. And just pray that he is safe and that he doesn't get anyone else safe. I hope he was safe in quarantine, by quarantining himself from everyone else, and hopefully he does come back. And I guess just get it. Before we get rid of the political stuff, just say how glad there's awareness on all levels, and every life together, peace and love.
Yeah.
I want us all to come together. That is it.
Mm-hmm. And then the very last thing of NBA news before we go on to other sports and other leagues, Rajon Rondo is going to be out for, it looks like, a couple of weeks. And he's going to miss the, I guess kind of like the end of the regular season. And he's going to be missing, regardless, the first round and a half of the playoffs. What do you guys think this does for the Lakers? They're going to be asking, it's going to be a tall order for Alex Caruso. I think their starting five right now is looking like Alex Caruso, Danny Green, LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Dwight Howard with Kuzma at the 6. What do you guys think? How do you guys think the Lakers are looking going up against, the Clippers, who's the odds-on favorite to win the Western Conference and just win the championship in general? Forget it. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this ends the Lakers' chances, or do you guys think that they'll be able to pull it together?
Absolutely not, man. Listen to me. That team is going to be perfectly fine with Rondo, without Rondo. They're just strong. Like, honestly, they're one of my favorites. I'm a Rockets fan, but they're one of my favorites right now at this moment. I don't feel like in any way this is going to slow them down. They have great communication on the court, as you can see. I mean, so I don't feel like this is going to slow them down. I feel like if any more, they're all going to pick it up for Rondo. So I feel very confident in that team. They're going to be fine.
Exactly. Yeah, I think they'll be fine. They're just a strong team. I feel like LeBron is right. Talking about the Lakers.
Yeah.
Right. I think LeBron is just that that factor. He's the inner seed that everyone just grows around, the roots around, and you just see how people feed off of LeBron and how LeBron is that energy factor. He's the leader of that team. So I feel like LeBron's leadership and his power that he has as the king would just lead that team. And that's why I don't like Josh. I like your reaction. You were like, absolutely not. Because it's true. They're just a stacked team full of power. LeBron is that energy that everyone feeds off and has that energy. Because the Lakers wouldn't be where they are if it's not for LeBron.
Right. That's a fact.
And all season, people have been talking about how Alex Caruso should be getting more minutes with the Lakers and how he's been, a spark plug for them and almost kind of like a Jeremy Lin cult icon, along with other players in the league like Pat Connaughton and whatnot that are just beloved by their fans. So I think that he can rise to the occasion, and I follow him on the gram. It looks like he's gotten pretty freaking brolic in the offseason. So he's coming into the bubble looking like Broly from Dragon Ball Z. We'll see what's going on with that. But I can't count them out. They're not like they're not like the Wizards or even my Suns that it's kind of like, what are you doing here, man? I think that they still have a shot. They still have Anthony Davis. They still have LeBron. You got 2 of the top 5 guys in the league. I can't think you're going to not make the playoffs.
Yeah.
So, and then another team that I kind of want to talk about too, the Pelicans. Zion Williamson lost a lot of weight. He's coming in, moving faster, looking quicker, jumping higher. He's already a Terminator. We'll see. So we'll see with that. But Pelicans are looking real good. I think all the teams are actually looking better than I thought. And some people say that maybe the schedules for the Pelicans might have been rigged a little bit to see Zion in the playoffs. Not saying that's not true, but I'm also not saying that is true. But regardless, he's looking like a beast. But we talked about last week. Marcus Gasol on the Raptors is looking like a beast, looking 20 years younger. So a lot of people were concerned about the shape guys are going to be coming in, and it hasn't been too much of a problem, it looks like. So I'm glad to see it. I think these guys are going to be at that high level that they were before the stoppage. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think that guys are going to be coming in out of shape? Do you guys think it's going to be more of the same old, slam dunks and crazy shenanigans on the court? Or do you guys think it's going to be looking like, LA Fitness Old Man League?
Well, you have two different type of players on teams. Everybody knows this. You have the doers and you have the do-nots. So you're going to have some guys that's going to come in looking great as per usual. Then you're going to have those guys who don't look as great. Is a balanced game, honestly. So I feel like you're going to see both. And you have seen a lot of players that have looked like they've gotten stronger, quicker, just took the time out to do what they needed to do. But you are going to have those guys that just basically sat at home and just, partied or whatever Corona pandemic activity they decided to partake in. So I feel like it's going to be a mixture of both, and we're definitely going to see it. There's no hiding it. So be very interesting to see.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, yeah.
Okay. So I think that's it for the NBA. Unless, of course, you guys have anything else you wanted to discuss. I think we can move on to other leagues, right?
I think we can, yeah.
Okay. So we got quite a bit. We have MLB to cover, some stuff coming out there. We have the NFL, then we have the NCAA. What do you guys want to cover next? What's up?
MLB.
All right.
MLB.
That's what I was thinking too. I just wanted to be diplomatic about it, but it's unanimous. Major League Baseball it is. Big news coming out for me. I think one of, if not the most exciting players in the league, Yasiel Puig is no longer a free agent. He got picked up by the Atlanta Braves. And just for you fans out there, I have gone through the trouble of going back and looking at Yasiel Puig's statistics from last year. According to Baseball Reference, in 55 at-bats, he had 148 hits, 24 home runs, a .267 batting average, 76 runs, 84 RBIs, which is pretty high, 19 stolen bases, 327 OBP, 458 slugging percentage, OPS 785, OPS plus 100. So I think he's going to be great for this team. I think this is a team that, they've been kind of close, but they haven't been able to get over that hump. And I think his hustle, his tenacity, his drive is exactly what the doctor ordered for this team, especially because they're going in there with the face of the franchise, Freddie Freeman. In my opinion, probably one of the best first basemen in the league. It was going to be a big blow to them, but they got that bat in Puig, and I'm excited to see what happens with them. He's somebody that when he's on the base paths, he goes 100%. When he's in the outfield, he goes 100%. When he's in the plate, he goes 100%. He's exciting to watch, and I can't wait. This was great for baseball. This was great for the Braves.
Yeah.
We're all in agreement?
I could agree, yeah. Are you kidding? Yasiel Puig is he has an interesting career, and I would say he's on and off with injuries, and over the past couple of years, he's been from different team to different team, but he's always just that personality, and either him, I feel like that's probably what kept him in the league. It's just his great personality and his hitting, definitely. He's been able to, and his fielding too, he's definitely been able to show defensively he's a great fielder. And I'm just glad to see that he's got picked up and that he's still around. It's great to see him because I think he's a great player that, makes it exciting to watch baseball, if we can all say.
Yeah. And once again, them going in there without Freddie Freeman, that's really gonna hurt them. So I hope he can kind of be like like a spark plug for them moving forward. Kind of like how we were just talking about Alex Caruso or Jamal Crawford doing that for the Lakers and the Nets respectively. Hopefully Puig can do that for the Braves and just kind of galvanize that team a bit.
Mm.
So, yeah, other big news coming out of my Yankees pains me. I weep. I weep. Aroldis Chapman out with COVID-19.
Oof, that's a tough one.
Last year, I loved the whole next man up mentality. But quite frankly, fellas, we just don't have that kind of time. So hopefully next man up starts, dude, get in there. Because losing the best closer in the game is definitely not what I wanted.
Nah.
But we still got a pretty solid team. We still got a pretty solid, bullpen coming in there late games. That's a big reason why the Yankees went to the ALCS last year. So we'll see. We'll see. But it is definitely a blow to the Yankees. But hopefully he gets healthy. I wish him and his family the best. Yeah. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this is going to affect the Yankees really badly, or do you think they'll overcome it? Do you think they have the roster to overcome it? What are you guys thinking?
Josh, what do you think? You want to go first? Or?
I mean, you hope that you can overcome it. I mean, I feel like the Yankees have really been dealt a bad hand, like injury after injury. But this is why I say I feel like they can, because they have been doing it. Injury after injury, somebody has had to step up, and that's the name of sports. It is the next man up mentality. It has to be. So you just have to hope that they understand, like, yeah, this happens to us often, so we have to bounce back. Because they don't really, the time is now, man. Either you do it or you don't, and this is huge because the situation, like, you don't really have much time to try to gel. It's to do it now. So I just feel like they're kind of in an advantage, in my opinion, because they have dealt with the injuries already. So, it's just that, hey, man, whoever's next, just let's go. That's all you can do. But I can say that I think Judge is looking better. I mean, you got Judge, so still in there, man. Just that person got to step up, that's all.
Yeah, and I think, like you said, I mean, I want to bring up how, like, there were a lot of injuries last year, but there was always someone that was able to step up, whether it was Gio Urshela or it was other players, especially, I think, like, with Chapman out, I feel like Zach Britton's going to come in. So I feel like they'll be set. I feel like they have the roster to be set in the bullpen. So I feel like even though that Chapman is out, he will, hopefully he'll come back later on in a month or two. I think they'll be set the Yankees, and I think Yankee fans shouldn't really be worried about them.
Okay. And coming out of the other New York sports, the other New York baseball club, Buddy, you were talking our pregame, you were talking about the Mets. You want to talk to us about that here?
Yeah, so, Jacob deGrom has experienced tightness in his back, and people were concerned. And so he ended up getting an MRI, and good news came out. But now he's just day-to-day. So as a Mets fan, I was kind of nervous. I was nervous to see what would happen. But now looking at it now, he looks pretty good. And I'm glad to hear that. As a Mets fan, I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad he doesn't have any corona, and I'm glad he's good. Glad he has no issues in his back. And I just, I can't wait to see him pitch again. It's a Cy Young Award winner. Who wouldn't want to see that?
I think it's best for baseball to see the best pitcher in the league pitch.
Exactly.
I love the Yankees. Obviously, I love Garrett Cole on the Yankees. Didn't like him when he was on the Astros. But I gotta respect DeGrom. I mean, friends of mine that are Met fans have always wanted to have since the Yankees picked up Garrett Cole. Oh, but he's no Jacob deGrom, and I'm like, yeah, I know. You're trying to argue with me, but I agree with you. So, I mean, I think it's best for baseball. It's best for the league. It's best for the Mets. It's best for everybody to see DeGrom pitch, and I'm so happy that it's not, as serious as they had first thought. Okay. And then, Josh, you want to add anything to that, or?
No, you guys.
So before we move on from baseball, from the MLB, who do we think is going to make the playoffs? What are we thinking here? So keep in mind, for those of you who aren't aware of this, teams are going to only be playing teams within their region. The
Right.
American League East will play the American League East and National League East. They will not be playing the National League West or the American League Central, just within their region. So keep that in mind when thinking about, who's going to make the playoffs and whatnot. It's a shortened season. Who are you guys thinking? Who are some of your odds-on favorite? And then I'll go last and just talk to you guys about mine.
So are we talking talk American and National League?
Yeah. What are some teams that are jumping out to you that you think they're going to go the distance there?
Okay. So in the American League, I would say at the top of my list right now is the Yankees, the Astros. Let's see. I would say I'll say the Dodgers.
And Dodgers were a super team last year.
Yeah, I can see the Dodgers being in there as well. Who else? Let's see.
I would say, you said you had another team, or?
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Minnesota was pretty good last year too, yeah. I think teams definitely have to say the Yankees and the Astros. I would also say on the National League side, top two teams I feel like are going to be the Dodgers, and then you have maybe the Cardinals. Or in a way.
Yeah.
Or I would say Atlanta looked pretty good last year. They were a good team. Even without Freddie Freeman, you got Yasiel Puig coming back. So, because I remember he was a Brave at one point, was he?
I don't believe so. I think he only played for the Dodgers, the Indians, and the Reds.
Indians. I'm thinking the Indians, yes.
Right. You had to have the same colors and similar.
The same kind of color, yeah. So, the Dodgers stick out to me because in many ways they're just a good hitting ball club. I would say maybe Cleveland. Cleveland looked pretty good last year. I would put Cleveland up there.
Would you say Washington, maybe?
That's
of
Cleveland.
Course. You never write off a defending World Series champ. However,
I wouldn't,
the only strike against them, and they're the first game of the MLB season against the New York Yankees. The only gripe I have with the Nationals, going in there without Ryan Zimmerman, and they lost Anthony Rendon in free agency.
Yeah, that was pretty big.
Really, the national champions that we saw last year. Sorry, the world champions we saw last year. But they still got Soto, Juan Soto. So they got they got
Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, Strasburg, Scherzer.
Yeah, Strasburg back, Scherzer.
I see his face and I can't remember his name. The guy, he was the veteran on their team that he hit all those big shots with. Howie Kendrick.
Howie Kendrick.
They have Howie Kendrick. So I'm not going to write them off completely, but I do have other favorites in that division over them. So, yeah.
I like to see where the Nationals were a very good team last year. They proved that they were more than a wild card team, and I think we're all witnessing that. It was amazing what that run to the World Series is probably something that we're not going to see for a little bit. That's how great it was. It was amazing. I've never thought they were going to win it. I never forget watching that last pitch and just shook because, as much as I'm a Mets fan, I never want to see my rival team do good. But they were just amazing. They gained my respect, and I liked them a lot at the end because they deserved it, especially with what happened with that scandal. And Josh, I know you want to punch me for the Zoom right now with the Astros, but the Astros were a good team, and they are still a good team. It's just the way that they played out that World Series, both teams. It was just incredible how the Nationals came out, especially with that Game 6 when Trey Turner was called out. Remember that D-Train, right?
Of course.
And the way that they persevered and they just kept going and kept going. It was pretty remarkable in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I like to see the Nationals. I see the Nationals fighting with the Mets and the Braves. I don't know how
And
the
the
Marlins.
Phillies.
Yeah, I don't know how the Marlins or the Phillies. The Phillies, I don't know. The Phillies, yeah. I mean, I don't know what happened. Last year was a down year. I guess the manager and them didn't click. Especially, Bryce Harper and all that money. It proves that you don't bring all your money together and for that one player because you're supposed to be a team. One guy is not a whole team.
Yeah. So, going on to my picks and whatever, I just want to preface everything that I'm about to say with, I feel so bad for Met fans, Phillies fans, Braves fans, Nationals fans, because that division is so loaded. I would have loved to have seen 162 games of it. The Phillies are a good team. They got Joe Girardi as their manager, replacing the gentleman, I forget his name. He used to just fly off the handle all the time. I forget his name, but I picture his face too.
Joe Girardi. No, I can't forget about it.
So they replaced him with Girardi, and I'm still trying to remember the guy's name, and I can't. If one of you guys want to look that up. And then they brought in my dude Didi Gregorius.
Yeah,
I have a Yankees Didi jersey. I have one of the ones that says Sir Knight. That's my guy. It's Didi. Sir Didi. And obviously, I'm never going to bet against Sir Didi. Of course not. Never going to bet against Bryce Harper. They have a really good team, so I don't want to count them out. Then you got the Braves. They got Dansby Swanson, Ozzie Albies, now Yasiel Puig. They got a good team, and other not as well known, not as big names, but still really talented players. Then obviously the Mets picking up Betances, I think, was huge for them because I think if they had Betances last year, I think they make it to the playoffs.
Yeah.
And
Edwin Diaz.
So Ed Luz Diaz, as my friend Andrew, who's a big Met fan, likes to say, Ed Luz Diaz. And then they got Dellin Betances now. So their bullpen going into this was looking a little good. I thought Diaz might have that chip on his shoulder that he wanted to do better. They still have Cano. They still have,
Cano.
Alonso.
Yeah.
They still have Jeff. Yeah, JD Davis, but Jeff.
Jeff Love.
McNeil.
Oh, Jeff McNeil.
That's what I'm thinking
of. I gotta forget about that. I can't forget about Jeff McNeil.
So they have a really good team too. And then obviously we have, the defending champions, the Washington Nationals. It's going to be it would have been a loaded division, but now they're going to be playing each other a lot. And they're also going to be playing the Red Sox that are still looking good. Yes, they lost Mookie Betts. Yes, they lost David Price. But they still have Andrew Benintendi. They still have, Xander Bogaerts. They still have Jackie Bradley Jr. They still have really good players. They still have, Drew Pomeranz and whatnot. So I can't write them off completely. They're going to be going up against the Yankees. They're going to be going up against the Rays that are looking good. The Blue Jays, who I think people are writing off, prematurely. The Orioles are the only team that's a real loss. That's a real, get lost team. And then AL East, and then the NL East, the Marlins are the only team that are a real get lost team. So out of those conferences, I got the Yankees winning the AL East, and then, buddy, I have the Mets winning the NL East. I think Betances is the perfect fit for them. I think that, they still have Cano, they still have McNeil, they still have Alonso. I think they can go far. I like them. I like their team. I like how last year they were picking it up towards the end. I think bringing in the new
starting pitchers, Michael Wacha and
right. Michael Wacha, I think, is a big pickup for them. But also their new manager, forgetting his name again.
Rojas. Rojas, yeah.
Rojas.
I never
Okay,
forget. I'm glad they got rid of Beltran, and I'm glad they brought him in because I honestly, like, even before the scandal, I didn't think Beltran would fit the Mets. I didn't see any success. So I think Rojas will be pretty good because the Mets like him, and it's like you want to keep that same energy. You know what I mean? They said Rojas is the perfect guy.
And he
Keep
coached.
Exactly. He coached these players. Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. He coached them in the minor leagues, and so he has a rapport with them. Now going on to the Central divisions. In the AL Central, I think it's clear that the Twins are just going to beat the dog crap out of these teams. You know, the Indians are going to do okay. I can't see them making the playoffs over other teams, but they'll do okay. Then the White Sox are looking real good. I love Tim Anderson. I think he's very exciting for the MLB, and he's just great for baseball. And but I have a hard time saying that they're going to win the division. I'd really like the Kenta Maeda pickup for the Twins to help that bullpen a bit. Now moving on to the NL Central, I think the Reds are going to run away with it. I think the American League Central is better than the National League Central. So if they're going to keep playing each other, I don't think those NL Central teams can hang with them, quite frankly. You know, the Cardinals are good enough to get by. The Cubs are good enough to get by. The Pirates aren't very good. The Brewers are very good, but I still think the Reds did more in the offseason to help out their chances. But if Yelich is healthy and whatnot, then I could see the Brewers. So I could see the Reds or the Brewers getting it. Can't see two teams making the playoffs out of this division.
Right, yeah.
Then moving on to the West, I have the Astros obviously winning the AL West. I hate them. You know, goddamn them. But, you know, it's the AL West. I mean, gosh, it's gonna be a bloodbath. Who are we kidding? And then the NL West, I got the Dodgers.
Same.
And then moving on to the wild card teams, I think that it's going to be out of the National League. I think it's going to be the whichever one of the teams make the National League East, and then the two teams below them, I think are going to make the playoffs. And then I think for the American League, I think it's going to be Tampa Bay and Oakland or Anaheim, depending on the health of Anaheim with Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani.
Anaheim, yeah.
We'll see. And then there's other factors we got to also put into play here. Like the Rockies can do really good with the universal DH. They have a lot of good hitters on their team. So we'll see. Everybody's talking about how hitters are going to have a slower start than pitchers. You know, this team that's got a lot more hitting than pitching, we'll see how they do. They still have Charlie Blackmon. They still have Nolan Arenado, so you can't write them off. Then the Padres, they have Fernando Tatis Jr. They have Manny Machado. You can't write them off. But I still just think that the NL East is a little more complete teams, but they'll be playing each other more often. So the competition level, I guess what I'm getting at is saying I think some of the teams that are better than other teams aren't going to be making the playoffs, but
right, yeah,
it is what it is. And I think that's kind of a disservice to fans of teams in the National League East, but you got to play the cards that you're dealt, man. So I think that's kind of it for baseball. Unless, of course, you guys have anything to add.
I think
what do you got to say, Josh?
Huh?
What you got to say, Josh?
Oh, no, I was just saying, I think the NL West has to be like the weakest division out of all these divisions, man. Like, it's not even close.
What's that? Let me hear.
I just don't think any of these teams are strong enough to battle these other teams. I mean, the only one I could think of is the Dodgers. I mean, but come on, like everybody else, they're not.
Dodgers, yeah, they outstack everybody. You know, and if the Nationals weren't, you know, in the playoffs, they honestly probably would have went to the World Series. You can make that argument because they probably would have swept St. Louis, just like the Nationals did. So yeah, honestly, you make a great point. I don't know how anyone else could overpower them, as you say.
And they're going to be beating up on, you know, the Diamondbacks, the Seattle Mariners. Everybody's favorite World Series candidate, the Seattle Mariners. Yeah, I think the only team out of those two. I mean, guys, Josh, I know you're a big Astros fan. I can definitely see the way teams are only playing in their region. I can see the Dodgers having a 60-0 season. They're so much better than all the other teams except the Astros. It's ridiculous. But and then on the flip side, and then you flip over to the East Coast, and it's going to be it's going to be a war of attrition over there between the Yankees and the Red Sox and then obviously all those guys that we got in the NL East, and it's going to be crazy, man. It's going to be a wild season.
Right, yeah. And before we end off on baseball, I do want to confirm that, yes, from ESPN, the DeGrom's MRI came back clean, and he has avoided injury.
Okay.
So he just had tightness in his back, and just thank God.
Oh, that's good. That's real good then.
Yeah, it's really good. So I think we all should move towards the NFL, as there's a lot that's been going on there. Now, the franchise tag deadline came and went yesterday. There's been a lot of players that were able to reach agreement, a.k.a. Derrick Henry, the boss.
Woo.
Oof,
I stay running back, baby.
Yeah, God bless him.
I hate that he's still in my division. I hate it, but I'm very happy for him.
Dude,
anybody that touches the ball more than him should get paid. That man touched the ball so many times last year, man. He deserves it.
Not Ryan Tannehill didn't just carry that team, but so did Derrick. Derrick Henry was the number one player that, in my opinion, carried that team all the way. You saw what he did against Baltimore. You saw how he dethroned the Patriots with the Titans. You know what I mean? So I was waiting for him to get paid. I liked Ryan Tannehill's extension, without a doubt. That was good for him. God bless him. That was a great contract. But I thought Derrick Henry needed to get, that money too.
Most definitely. I feel like it would have been very bad if they didn't do something with him. It would have been terrible, because when you really look at Tannehill, he did good for somebody. He had a career year, but you also have to understand he's a guy that hasn't really been, and not to dump on him, and I think he's a decent quarterback, but he hasn't really had a good year. Like, this was his first good year, but you have to also credit that to the fact that people knew they had to worry about Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry was pounding defenses the whole game. They're retired, and he took advantage.
Earl Thomas, yeah. You saw how Earl Thomas was. Yeah, Earl Thomas didn't even know which way to go. He used to the face picture, the stiff arm. And I like the contract. I think it's a good contract. It's 4 years and $50 million. I mean, I'll take $50 million. Like, stomp roll these defenders.
It was still contract friendly. It was still a contract friendly deal. So I'm glad that they both got it done. That was real good for them. They needed him. No lie, they needed him. So
my favorite picture of Derrick Henry is when he's with Alabama, and you see him next to Mark Ingram, who played at Alabama too as well. He looks like Mark Ingram looks like my height next to Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry's like brolic, huge. Freaking nature. It's amazing.
Oh, man. Speaking of that, Alabama that year, they had a lot of great running backs. They had Derrick Henry.
Eddie George.
They had
Eddie George was Ohio State. I'm thinking of Sean Alexander.
State, yeah, he was Ohio State. They had Derrick Henry. They had obviously
Mark Ingram.
Mark Ingram, yes. And then I forgot who else they had, but he was also a very good running back. He was one of the quicker, smaller guys. I can't think of his name right now.
Quicker, smaller guys.
Quick and
from
small.
Alabama.
From Alabama. Trying to think.
Well, they had T.J. Yeldon. That's
who I think it was, actually.
They had Josh Jacobs, who just, ran over 1,000 yards.
I think it might have been T.J., actually. It was.
T.J. Yeldon. Yes,
they had T.J. Yeldon in the backfield. They had Mark Ingram.
Trent Richardson.
They also had Trent Richardson. They had so many backs that year, and it's just incredible that all of them had an NFL career, because they had a lot of backs that year. That particular, and I know the picture that you were talking about, that's the same picture I'm talking about, and I was thinking about all those different running backs that they had. That year, they were really strong. But, yeah, that was crazy.
And, I think another player who got another big contract was Myles Garrett. Now, his contract, 5 years, $125 million. It's worth $100 million guarantees. It's worth $100 million. Now, some of that, like 50, he gets $50 million guaranteed up to signing his contract today, but he can get up to $100 million for that contract guaranteed. He signed quarterback type money, in my opinion. Like, he signed what Joe Flacco signed 7 years ago, around. His contract is insane. Now, looking at Myles Garrett, like when I was doing cardio and I was watching Myles Garrett, like I was watching NFL Network, and I was they were showing his highlights, you could just see he was just bulldozing right through left tackles or right tackles. I remember watching like when they played against the Patriots, you saw Marshall Newhouse. Now he's not that good of a left tackle either way, but either way, Myles Garrett was just literally just went right through him like he was like just Pop Warner lead. That's how dominant I feel like Myles Garrett can be. And I feel like a lot of people forget that because I feel like now he sometimes can get overshadowed by that Mason Rudolph incident, but I feel like that has cleared up, and you've seen how he has shown his like just incredibleness as a D end.
Yeah, that was a very huge contract for them, and I think it's important to keep him because they have a lot of great defensive players on that team. People don't realize how good that Browns team could actually be because it doesn't show on the field, or it doesn't show like productivity wise. It doesn't show, but they have a lot of great players, especially defensively. Like their defenses arguably could be one of the best defenses in the NFL right now. They just don't know how to gel it together for whatever reason. I don't know why, but they just don't know how to gel it together. But that was huge for them to get that deal done with him. And I kind of think it was an advantage because, like you said, the whole Mason Rudolph incident, I feel like it was more of an advantage to the Browns that it was easier to, bring him back. And obviously for him, he would probably thought that it was going to be harder for him to maybe get on another team because of the incident as well. So that was, it was huge for both parties, honestly. So I think that was a great pickup, a great deal.
Right, and like I said, you see how the Browns were able to have faith and they trust him to give him like $125 million contract. I think the Browns definitely have the trust in Myles Garrett and that he's worth the investment. You see his productivity on the field. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes I feel like he can be a dirty player because I didn't like what he did to Trevor Siemian in the Monday Night Football game, and
that was huge too. Yeah,
that was I thought that was dirty, but in a way, like Myles Garrett deserves the money. Either way, without that, and another player that got signed to a big contract was Chris Jones, D tackle from the Kansas City Chiefs. When I saw that, I was just like, I didn't think that he would get signed out of all the players because you saw how much money that Patrick Mahomes just got.
Whew.
And I remember after the Super Bowl, I remember that he was saying how he wanted to be a Chief for life. He wanted to stay with them. And I thought he was going to get let loose, but, luckily they were able to franchise him. And that was another team-friendly contract.
Yeah.
They gave
4-year extension, $85 million.
Yeah, with 60 guaranteed, right? 60 million guaranteed.
60 guaranteed, yeah. So, not bad.
They're handing out monies like they're Scrooge McDuck.
Hey,
Scrooge McDuck money.
But when you really think about it, though, you won the championship. Why not bring everybody back if you can?
Right? Yeah, exactly. Outside Chris Jones, he better be celebrating with champagne because he's getting hopefully another ring.
Yeah. Hey. Andy Reid, listen, keep doing it, man. Keep doing it. Hey, I would love to run the same team back if I could. If you have that ability, why not? Like you said, it's a friendly deal. Go for it. I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out, but not bad. It's not like they have a lot of contracts they have to worry about, So
right, yeah, because they signed a lot of the players. They just Tyreek Hill before the season. They got him to an extension.
Mm-hmm.
Along Travis Kelce has more years on his contract, so I'm not worried about him necessarily wanting to leave. Out of all the players that signed extensions, and which player do you feel like, which player do you feel like should have got the contract? Which player are you shocked that wasn't signed before the deadline?
That I'm shocked that wasn't signed before the
Dak
deadline.
Prescott.
Exactly.
Yes, definitely. Oh my God, that
Dude,
is.
I was just about to say. We spoke when the episode first started that it's my birthday, so I haven't really been on my phone. I was watching the Jason Bourne movie. Shout out to Matt Damon, by Doppelganger. But I was going to ask, did he get? He didn't get an extension, did he?
No,
he
he signed the franchise tag.
Very close.
He signed the franchise tag.
What are you thinking, Jerry boy?
They did not come to agreement with the
Cowboys.
extension, but he did sign his franchise tag, and I think what is it, 35 mil, I believe, 30 something mil, I believe.
31.4 million.
Okay, yeah. So yeah.
Either way,
so
that's still a lot of money.
it's a lot of money, but it's like it's gonna make you lose money though. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't very smart.
Say,
You know?
I
Because go ahead,
I
Dennis.
think he should have. Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was the one interrupting.
No,
I think he should have. I think he should walk from them. Forget them.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Walk from the Dallas Cowboys, one of the best organizations in sports history.
Absolutely. What do you mean,
Yeah, you
man?
serious?
No, listen, the year that they gave the reason why I say absolutely he should leave, think about it. The year that they could have gave him an extension, they gave it to Yasiel Puig. The running back position, when you look at it, you look at position-wise. Running back and safety are two of the most unvaluable positions in the NFL. We can all agree on that, right?
Right. Yeah. We all
Right.
could. Yeah. Sure. Definitely.
yeah. You mean you mean invaluable, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Invaluable.
Okay.
Yes.
I was about to say pretty important, but yeah, I get what you're saying now. That's
So
I know what you're saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, I'm sorry. But yeah, so when you look at that, you give him a contract before you say this is your quarterback, this is your guy. You give your running back an extension, and now if you're so worried about money, I guess you don't want.
They have the money though.
Quarterback. So then why they can't get a deal done then? If they have the money, then why can't they get a deal done?
Yeah, exactly. No, I mean, I think I like Dak Prescott. He is the quarterback, and I like him. Like I said, I've said before, he shows true professionalism as not just on the field, but off the field. That's why I have so much respect for him. And, in a way, he did a lot this year, tremendously stat-wise, like with yardage. Like if Jameis Winston didn't go off and was just chucking the ball, he probably would have led the league in passing yards. As Dak almost had 5,000 yards. Dak. I don't think that offense would be what it is without Ezekiel Elliott.
Right, and I don't disagree on that.
But I feel like Dak needs to. I feel like it's like you ask yourself like, what does he need to do more? Like he's already done a lot. I feel like I said, they need to start winning. And until you see contracts like Aaron Rodgers got later on in his career, or Patrick Mahomes. Like Patrick Mahomes is like 3 years into the league and he's done tremendous. But I don't know. I don't know what Dallas is already stacked as it is. I don't know if it was me. I don't know if people want to blame Jason Garrett or want to blame the coaching, for not coming in clutch last year when they needed to be. They were 8-5 until they lost the rest of the games. But I don't know what else Dak Prescott could do. They almost came. Yeah, they came close to an extension. They were this close.
The thing I have to say.
What are you gonna say?
The thing I have to say about who should have gotten paid between Ezekiel Elliott and Dak Prescott was, the off the field stuff is so important. I feel, especially for the Dallas Cowboys, that is the self-proclaimed America's team. That's a bunch of BS, but okay. Yeah, it's the New York Yankees. Forget about it. America's team. You think people in Europe know who the Dallas Cowboys are? Yeah, okay, sure.
They might.
No, Yankees, baby, Yankees.
People know who the Yankees are.
But you gotta say, Dennis, that was back in the day, though. Like way before we were born, they were America team.
Yeah, I know. Oh yeah, and the Bronx Bombers have been doing this since the 1920s. Okay, so I still got.
I don't disagree with you. I'm just saying, I'm just saying.
But I think also we're comparing two different teams from two different sports.
Exactly.
Being a jerk,
but
the representing. My point is representing a team that is that valued.
Right.
Off the court drama, off the court nonsense, or off the field rather, nonsense and drama. I feel like that would diminish Ezekiel Elliott's value because we can, from their perspective, I would look at it as we can get somebody who's not as good, but helps our brand
the image
more. So that's why I was surprised at the time they gave the money to Ezekiel Elliott instead of Dak Prescott. Now I understand the counterpoint would be we've never seen this many high-quality quarterbacks ever in the league. That Dak Prescott is almost expendable, I guess, would be what some people say, using different words. What I mean is like the finding a replacement for Dak Prescott is much easier than finding a replacement for Ezekiel Elliott. Because I mean, like even fans now are arguing like, well, why don't they start Andy Dalton this year? That's a pretty good argument. Andy Dalton is the more proven player, and
I don't know. No, Andy Dalton is good. I'm not gonna lie, but like
I don't know.
That's why I liked the signing. I liked the signing before, like Andy Dalton, because say Dak Prescott were the holdout, Andy Dalton would step right in, because like it was like Kellen Moore gonna come out of retirement and like start chucking passes from.
Yeah, but can you really say though that you feel like Andy Dalton with the offense? You really feel that Andy Dalton would be better than Dak?
It's tough because I feel like Dak Prescott's has had better role players than Andy Dalton has had, and they've still had the exact same kind of success. First round exit. Right? Did the Cowboys won a playoff game with Dak Prescott? I don't think they have.
They have, yeah. They beat Seattle. They beat Seattle last year. Not this year, but the last year in 2018. To the 2019 season. Yeah, it was a pretty good game. They lost to the Rams.
But I don't know. I just don't. He's never really had all the receiver core, in my opinion. I mean, really think about it. I mean, other than when he had Dez, who else could you say he really had? I mean, yeah, Cooper had a good year, but I mean, he hasn't really had receivers since he's been there, really, when you think about it. I mean, you want to count a tight end, Jason Wheaton, okay.
Jason Wheaton.
But really, what has he had? Like, what star receivers? I mean, if you go back to Andy Dalton, he had AJ freaking Green.
Yeah,
I mean, arguably one of the best at that time.
He had Mohamed Sanu, Marvin Jones. Like, that was a good receiver.
But also their team can stay healthy.
And they have an offensive line. They have an offensive line that's built like.
I mean, they have the offensive line, but they don't. But they definitely don't have the receiving core. You can argue offensive line. You can argue running back. They've never had a nice receiving core around Dak, and he still put up some great numbers. So, I mean, I don't know. That's why I just don't – like, he deserves – in my opinion, I'm just saying he deserves – whatever money he's asking for, he deserves that much. Because with the talent that he had around him, he did great things with. I mean, he didn't really have a true wide receiver one after Dez Bryant, in my opinion. He didn't have a true wide receiver one. That's factual.
I agree. I'm not gonna disagree. I mean – but I think in general, I feel like there is a bit of an argument that could be made for Andy Dalton over him.
I don't know, man. I can't comfortably.
I'm also biased because I always liked Andy Dalton. He always seemed like a good.
I mean, yeah, he's a Texas. I love Andy. Don't get me wrong. He's a Texas. Out of Katy, Texas. Come on, one of the best high school teams in Texas. I mean, I love Andy Dalton, but I just can't sit back and just feel that Andy Dalton. I feel if you put him with some receivers, like a true wide receiver one, I just feel like Dak would put up even better numbers, in my opinion. I just don't feel like he's been granted. And even if he did have receiver injury, like, I just don't feel like his cards has always been dealt. And I hate the Cowboys. Like, oh my God, I hate the Cowboys. But I could just say, honestly, Dak is a great quarterback, man. And people don't give him his flowers. And he should definitely get his flowers for being a great quarterback with what he has around him. That's the only reason why I say I would pick him over Andy Dalton. But don't get me wrong, Andy Dalton was a dog when he first came out. Andy Dalton was a dog, man, honestly. But I just feel like he deserves the money that he's asking for without a question. I think you're on mute.
Yeah, he's on mute. There you go.
Yeah, I'm sorry. My dad asked a question, so I had to put it on yield mute.
Oh,
But
okay.
yeah. No, I heard what you were saying though. I don't know. I think the Cowboys are going to be interesting this year. I think that whole division's going to be interesting this year with the Eagles and then my Giants, my boys in blue. We'll see, man. We'll see. I think the NFL is going to be very interesting.
Yeah, I'm really interested
Yeah.
to see what the Giants do, man. I honestly feel like I don't know. I like this new addition y'all got, man.
Yeah.
I like
I-
Judge, man.
I think we're looking good.
I liked his interview.
I like the coach.
Oh man, I loved his interview. Did you hear that interview?
Joe Judge, yeah.
Yes, man. Oh my God, if that wasn't one of the best interviews I've ever heard in a while, man. Like he was on point with everything, man. I feel like these Giants are gonna change. You know, I like Daniel Jones. He actually is funny. He actually reminds me of a young Eli Manning, which is very hilarious, dude.
Yeah.
It's almost like they have a little bit of like a physical resemblance, though, right?
Yes.
Danny Dimes. Oh my God.
Danny Dimes, man.
Yes. So
Dimes.
you guys are going to beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl again. They're going to go undefeated, and
I'm sorry?
I'm saying like you guys are going to go to the Super Bowl. He's going to give you 2 Super Bowls.
Oof. I don't know, man. But
Hey, you know what?
I mean, I can't say anything because those 2 Super Bowl wins were just such underdog stories that I mean, like you can't even like how can you predict that again, man?
Oh, yeah,
I think last episode I told you guys about how my dad was offered tickets to the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Oh wow. God bless him.
Yeah, I remember.
God bless him. God bless him.
You need to love your father every day, man. Because honestly, if that was me, I would have said, sorry, bud, I got to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have had to went to that Super Bowl, man. Sorry.
I respect it. I respect that level of commitment Dad had. But
Maybe that's commitment right there. The chance to go to Super Bowl 42 or go to my son's Boy Scouts. Honestly, wow.
I was in like 2nd grade at the time. I was in like 1st or 2nd grade.
Yeah, that was 2nd grade. We were in 2nd grade. Josh, what grade were you in?
Shoot,
Josh was like 30. As we found out last episode.
Oh yeah, he left. He got him. Oh yeah, I thought he left. I was fine. He had to get out of the chair. I was like,
yo, man, oh my God.
Great. Wow.
I think the only bit of NFL news we have left are the Madden ratings, and then the real meat and potatoes of the NFL news, the Washington football team's name.
Yes.
Ooh. So it's official. They are going to be changing the name.
They are going to be changing it. They are actually in discussions on how and what the name's going to be. Last time that I heard was that they were having some issues because some crazy person decided that they wanted to mark every possible name that they were thinking of. So they're having legal issues on that because then, you do that, then you get into legal issue troubles and sued and stuff like that. So they're still trying to decide on what name they want to give them. I really like the Red Tails.
Yeah, so many people like the Red Tails. I said this to my friend the other day. Red Tails is basically like the NFC version of the Jets. You know what I mean? Right. If that had to be, you know what I mean? I don't know any other flying team that's in the league. Well, the Eagles, the Cardinals, but like I'm talking about plane-wise.
Yeah, plane-wise, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like that name, but like I said, some wacko decided he wanted to mark that off too. So, but I was seeing some very interesting things. There were people saying that they could change it to the DC Red Tails. But I don't know if they would want
Red Tails.
I mean, that doesn't sound good. The DC Red Tails doesn't sound as good as Washington Red Tails.
That sounds pretty cool. DC, still Washington. Right?
DC Red Tails. I mean, it doesn't fit.
It's different.
I like the Generals.
That's marked off as well. That's marked off as well. Yeah.
I like the name. I don't know. It fits the history, but like, I mean, if it had to get changed, if it has to get changed, I guess it has to get changed.
Yeah.
It's just it's a shame, but I mean, some things I guess got to get done. It's been, I don't know, like this. It's been like in talks for a while for them to want to change the name, and I guess 2020 had to be the year.
Yeah. If it was up to me, I'd call them the Washington Warriors.
Yeah, but
Keep it
that's
simple.
like calling the New York Giants and then the San Francisco Giants. I mean,
Yeah, and then the more down the line you go with it, you kind of realize that it's not. Because I understand like the Golden State Warriors and whatnot, but then you also have the St. Louis Cardinals and the Arizona Cardinals that have no relation to each other that I know of. You have like the Bears and the Cubs, although they're not the same thing. One's named after the other. So I mean, it's tough. But I mean, I think the Washington Warriors. I think it rolls off the tongue well. I think it's cool. I think they can keep the logo, or if the logo wants to get changed.
They're changing the logo. They're everything to do with what the Redskins resemble. They're getting rid of all of it. The only thing that they're thinking about keeping is the colors, obviously, but everything, right. The logos, all that, they're stripping all of that, honestly. So,
okay. Now, what do you guys think about the phrase "retiring" the name? I thought that was a little crass. I thought they made it kind of downplayed. The fact that it was being changed for a negative reason. Retiring the name makes it sound like it's going out this heroic exit. It's kind of just boot off stage. I mean,
I can see why, because they did win championships under the Redskins. So that's an interesting point as to why they would want to retire it, because it would take away the history. I respect that. That takes away a lot of history. So I respect that, but like you said, it kind of downplays what the real issue is, and it's the disrespect to Native Americans. So the whole retire, I don't know if I can agree with that. I just feel like whatever the situation may be, they will just have to go back into the NFL Super Bowl history, championship history, and just change that name to the current name that they would have. So that way you still have some connection, to it, to the Super Bowl or whatever, the championship. But the whole retired thing, yeah, like you said, I don't, because it tries to downplay what the real issue is. So I don't like the word retired.
Right. Yeah.
It just doesn't lead. It just makes it even worse, in my opinion.
Yeah. So I think that was pretty straightforward. I think we all feel that that's
right. I think that was well said. I think that was well said.
I was about to say I couldn't have said it any better than Josh did. So the only bit of NFL news that I can think of is the Madden ratings came out. Lamar Jackson lower overall than Pat Mahomes, and I see Josh has a strong reaction to these Madden ratings. Floor is yours, buddy.
Yeah, I think they fumbled this Madden rating so bad. It was so terrible. We can all agree that Pat Mahomes, he deserved that 99 overall. Actually, he deserves a 100 overall, but they don't do 100. So 99 overall works out. I don't agree that Deshaun Watson is lower than Matt Ryan, because Matt Ryan was terrible this past season. Yeah, Deshaun Watson has the highest grade of quarterbacks of breaking tackles. And I feel like they just disrespected him with that 86. He should at least been a sub 90.
86?
86 overall. 86.
What?
86.
Oof, I'm sorry about that, Josh.
And 86 overall is what he was rated.
That is.
He was, and to give you a number, the top 10, he was number 8.
Yeah, I can't name eight quarterbacks.
Or 7. I think it might have been 7, because I think Dak was like 8. So he was above Dak Prescott. But, yeah, he was like 8th. So
that's ridiculous.
The ratings was terrible, man. I don't understand.
Oh, I mean, wait. So, you feel like Lamar Jackson, the stats that Lamar Jackson put up last year?
I like his stats. I like his stats, actually.
Do you feel like he should have been a 99 overall player?
No.
Joining that club?
No, I don't agree. Because the reason why I don't agree is because of what happened in the Tennessee game. He's not a passer. Well, he can pass, but he's not one of the elite passers. Like, he's not a Patrick Mahomes. He's not a Aaron Rodgers got robbed, but I'm gonna get on that later.
Right.
I just don't feel he's not strong enough he's not a balanced, like a super balanced player. Like he's really good at running the ball. He can pass a little bit, but he's not really accurate. So I would say, honestly, if you can stop his rushing more than you can stop his passing, which the Titans did, you see basically what happened in that game. So I honestly feel like he's great where he's at. I don't have a problem with that. Now, Aaron Rodgers was super robbed. And that was ridiculous because, I mean, like, come on, seriously? Like, seriously, you're going to do Aaron Rodgers that bad? Like,
yeah, they did him so bad.
So let me look. Aaron Rodgers, his overall was 89. I believe that is horse crap. If anything, he should have been where Tom Brady is. Tom Brady was overall a 90. I feel like he should have been a little lower last year. He was like
I feel like he should have been lowered. I feel like 90 was. I feel like it's a little bit too much. But I feel like Aaron Rodgers. I feel like he should be higher. I'm not gonna lie, because he had a good year. I mean, I feel like he was played all right. I feel like he didn't have that impact year, but I feel like he had one good. I mean, he played great against the Raiders. Remember, he threw 6 touchdowns. But I feel like he should have a higher rating. Like you said, I agree with you, Josh, right there.
Yeah. So I don't agree with that. Dude, you want to know what they gave Josh Allen?
What?
76.
No way.
76.
No way.
What's Sam Darnold?
76.
What's Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold, 83.
Really? What? An 83.
83. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen's the dude from the Bills, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No way.
76.
This is why I don't play Madden.
76 overall. He should have at least been in the 80s, at least.
I would have given him an 82 or an 84.
They did Daniel Jones kind of bad, but at the same time, I'm like,
Okay.
They gave him.
What'd they give him?
67. Maybe he could have been. Arguably, he could have been a 70, 71, 72. But they gave him a 67. They gave Baker Mayfield a 74. He could have been pushed up a little bit more.
Why is Sam Darnold? You kidding? Sam Darnold's an 83.
Sam Darnold's 83.
I feel like the reason why the Josh Allen is how he is, I mean, he's good. I'm not gonna lie, and he's won a lot of games for them, but like he never threw for over 270 yards in a game. Did you guys know that?
But you gotta look around but that's the thing, and I feel like this is what these Madden Ratings don't understand. You have to look at the overall play. Josh Allen got them to the playoffs. Do you know how long it's been since the Bills been to the playoffs?
Did it back-to-back years.
They've been to the playoffs 2 in the past 3 years. And before that,
they darn near beat us. They darn near beat us.
Yeah, no, they almost beat you guys. I remember they played the Jets pretty good week 1. They came back. A good team always finds ways to win. You know? They haven't
they haven't really had a lot of good seasons, and I feel like Josh Allen, 76?
Nah, I'm not glad.
That's crazy.
76 is what y'all give Josh Allen?
They did do him a little dirty.
Yeah, I think
dirty. Absolute dirty. I feel like Drew Brees should have been at least a 96, 97. He was a 93. So he was a 93. They gave Russell Wilson a 97. I can agree with that. That's fine.
Dennis, you're muted again.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I was talking to somebody. But
no, you're good.
I think Josh Allen. I think he should have been like an 80. I honestly, I know they have like an algorithm and whatnot, but like I think 84 would have been fine. I don't think anybody would have looked the other way.
Christian McCaffrey.
These are your 499 players. You have Pat Mahomes, obviously, Aaron Darnold, Christian McCaffrey, and Stephen Gilmore. Those are your 499 overalls.
Stephen Gilmore was pretty good.
I agree with Stephen Gilmore. He was the best corner in last year. So I agree with that.
I would have given him a 97 or a 96.
Who?
Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, I can, but I can see why they gave him a 98. I mean the 99. The dude went, he was looking.
Yeah, he had an MVP caliber season, so I'm not really I'm not really a Panthers fan, so I'm not crying over it. But I mean, I feel like that is a little too high. Like if they're gonna I just feel like if they're rating some players so low, I'm just surprised they gave him a 99, but they gave freaking what's his name a 76. That's crazy. Josh Allen.
Josh Allen, yeah.
They
So
gave J.J. Watt a 98 overall, and I don't even agree with that.
that's way too
Really?
high.
Jesus, who's making these
A
ratings?
98, and he was hurt half of the season. So
Who's making? Yeah,
Although
might not
he
even
came
play.
up big for them in the playoffs, but
He
then I feel
did,
like if you're
but
counting
a
the
98
playoffs for him, are you counting it for other people? I mean,
but see, that's what I'm saying. He missed almost half of the season. I love JJ, but I don't think he was a 98 overall. Are you kidding me? That's 1 point off from 99, and that's the best rating you can get in Madden. 98,
yeah.
90, okay, because of just how great JJ is. 90, okay, 98. Dude, there are people on here that should have been in the 90s that are not even in the 90s, man. I mean, even who was that from the Buccaneers? Oh, he was literally like the best like rusher, I believe.
Shaquille Barrett?
Shaquille Barrett wasn't even in the 90s, I believe. I think he was like an 89, 88.
Oh,
where's
really?
my dude Gardner Minshew?
I didn't even see his name on here. Let me go back.
Name's
No,
not on there.
Gardner. Big fans of Gardner Minshew in the Tuohy household.
Yeah, I'm not even seeing Gardner Minshew.
Uncle Rico.
I'm not even seeing his name on here.
Oh, well.
But as far as receiver wise, I think DeAndre Hopkins was rated 98. Can't argue with that.
No, that's.
You have let's see who's on here. Matthew Stafford was at 83. I feel like that's accurate.
Yeah. They had a lot of close games, but their defense let them down. I'm all right with that.
Trey Flowers ranked 86. Kerryon Johnson, 82. I don't know if I agree with that. That dude was a baller before he got hurt. So I don't know if I can agree with him being 82, man. Henry is rated 93. Chubb, Zeke, 92. Saquon, I feel like should have been higher. He was a 91. I feel like he should have been at least 93, 94.
I feel like maybe because he was injured.
Yeah.
But not really. They messed over Kamara, though. They gave him an 88.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, they didn't even give Bell.
I would have given him a 95.
Yeah, seriously. Like, what, 88?
Le'Veon didn't even get a good rating. Like,
Le'Veon didn't really
10.
do much, in my opinion, so I can't even argue with that. I mean, he didn't really have the offensive line, so it's like you can't really argue with that. T.Y. Hilton, 87. Philip Rivers was 82. They gave Philip Rivers 82.
Okay.
Joe Flacco, 69. Okay.
I feel like people give Phil Rivers such a hard time for no reason.
Actually,
I mean, a couple of years ago, he was top 3 in MVP voting. The year Mahomes won it, he was top 3 in MVP voting.
Yeah, no, he had
people
a good
making
year.
it sound like he's washed up just because he's playing in LA and they want somebody younger.
Nah, I just think it was time to move on. Just to the organization. Nah, just like I don't know. Like it wasn't.
I feel like overall the organization. I feel like there's time to move on, but I feel like when it comes to time to move on, you also shouldn't be dragging Phil Rivers through the mud and making it sound like he's a scrub.
Ooh, what?
He's not a scrub. What?
Why did they gave Minkah Fitzpatrick an 87?
Really? What's Jamal Adams then?
Who does he play for again?
He plays for the Steelers. He remember he played for the Dolphins and they traded him to the Steelers.
Right. Yes.
And they gave him an 87.
I feel like the NBA ratings are usually pretty good.
Yeah, they usually do a good job.
For historical players, they're trash, but like for current players, I feel like they're usually pretty good. But like, dude, the Madden ratings, like this goes back as old as time, man. Even in, like the Madden games I have, like Madden 05 and Madden 08, even some of them, you're like, dude, what are you thinking with these ratings? So, I don't know, but
I'm just at a loss of words of how fumbled these ratings are, man. Like,
So
I
the
just
so does Madden have like throwback teams and like all-time teams and all franchise teams,
No, they
like the
don't do that.
NHL
No.
games
Madden doesn't
and
have that. No, NBA. I know NBA does that.
they have it on.
NHL has like all-time teams like for the Devils, like the best Devils ever. Although they don't have the rights to Marty Brodeur, so it's a waste. But like they do that for all the teams. They have like the best players ever.
Like you're talking about like on a roster and stuff like that.
Yeah, so like how the NBA games have like the all-time teams, the NHL does the same thing with like franchise team, all franchise or whatever it is, or alumni teams. I think is the phrasing of it. But I don't know if the Madden games did it because I mean, I think they probably should. I mean, a lot of like historic players are in like the my team and whatnot, right? At least I know in Madden Mobile they had like Bo Jackson, Deion Sanders, and all those guys. I thought maybe they would have had them in the console game too.
Would have, yeah.
Mike Vick.
I mean, I think if you do like, there's like a certain, like if you like play on like 2K, you have the Ultimate Team stuff like that. I think if you do Ultimate Team, they have stuff like that, but not as far as like just the regular like game and stuff. I think. I don't really do Ultimate Team and stuff, so I don't really know.
I'm big with I do a lot of Ultimate Team. I was big with Ultimate Team, so I mean, Ultimate Team it's like all different with the ratings. Like they make many cards of players like different types. Like there's like a gold, like the best player I think I pulled in the pack was like a golden ticket Newton, and he's like a 99. So, but like I said, they make these different like versions of these players. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's just crazy.
I think that's kind of it for NFL news. So just quickly with the NCAA, the Patriot League opting out of fall sports, and you guys don't have anything for the NFL, right? That's it.
As far as what?
As far
news
now, that's
and
it.
everything. That's it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, other than them not really knowing what they're gonna do.
Like the masks, and I mean, players complaining
Oh,
with their masks.
actually, yes, I'm glad
JJ
you
Watt
said
said that. JJ Watt said that he wouldn't play if they
Yeah.
had to wear a mask.
I know he's your guy, Josh, but grow up.
No,
Like
definitely.
that's, I mean,
But
it's
to be
ridiculous.
fair, this is before they actually. I don't know if you guys seen that. Who is it? Oakley is the one that are designing these,
Right?
masks, stuff like that. So to be fair to JJ, he didn't know what it looked like. He just heard that they were trying to implement some sort of mask.
Right.
But
Yeah.
after seeing them, I don't know. I think he might be okay with it. The masks actually, they look pretty good. They have little small holes where they can breathe through. Not enough to where like droplets came out and stuff like that.
Right. Yeah.
So they look pretty good. Also, before we end with NFL, I also want to bring up. It's been a lot of talks from the players and different people about how the NFL is canceling the tradition of jersey swapping.
Right.
So
Yeah.
a lot of players are very vocal about it. I know one of them, Deshaun Watson, super vocal.
I'm with them too with that.
And that's very understandable.
I think it's ridiculous. Like you said, yeah.
Exactly. Like it's okay for us to be in a huddle together and tackle each other and touch each other the whole game. But
you can't swap any jerseys.
Makes no sense.
I agree with you guys.
Exactly. I agree with it.
Although I think jersey swapping is stupid.
I agree with you guys. I'm saying I don't agree with that. Because like you said, I mean, like look at this, right? Like I mean, I'm just watching some of the Packers game from like week 1 in 2018, and like Akeem Hicks is like tackling Jamal Williams. He's like all over him. So like it's just like because either way they're going to be with each other either way. Like everyone's going to be touching each other either way. So I mean, what's the jersey swap got to? What's the difference with the jersey swap? You know what I mean?
Exactly, and that's like a huge tradition. Like you're gonna strip away a whole tradition that's important to players. Like
I think maybe hopefully they would change it. Like something would happen.
I mean, we'll see. That's also in what October the league starts, very late September, early October.
League?
The NFL starts
like September.
No, the league. Wait,
like week 1 in September.
Yeah,
wow.
we
Yeah,
won in
September.
September.
Yeah,
Early
they
September.
have,
Living under a rock
yeah.
with Patrick Starr. But
I think they're gonna, yeah, like they're going with the season like it's normal, but
Yes.
they might not be. They shortened the preseason, but people were talking about it not like there being any preseason games at all.
Yeah, they're in talks about that. Well, what they did first was they got rid of the first and the last preseason games, so it's only supposed to be the second and the third. But they're thinking about just like because a lot of players are going back to their facilities and stuff, and they have to go kind of like the NBA. They have to frequently get the test for COVID and stuff like that. So yeah, they're doing stuff like that. But I don't know. They're not. For me, I don't feel like they're taking it as seriously as they should. As you can see, what
Yeah,
happened
exactly,
in the NBA and MLB, I feel like they should have learned better, but they haven't really. They're still like talking like, oh yeah, everything is normal. We're gonna start on schedule. I don't believe it. So.
Right. No, I agree because I don't think they're really taking any precaution. They had all this time and they've shown examples like the NBA, the NHL, the MLB. I feel like they really should have learned from that and like try to think. I think they're doing that now, but I feel like it's kind of a little bit too late. I feel like it's like too late.
Yeah, exactly.
So we'll see what happens. But for now, the season is going as it is. But they're just taking measures, like you see what the Ravens are doing. They're not going to have any games. No. Like I'm saying, they're not going to have any fans. The maximum level.
Yeah.
Only like 14,000, which is still a lot of people.
Yeah.
But I don't know. They're just got to see how it's going to go.
Yeah. And once again, there's still plenty of time before everything starts with them. So moving on to the NCAA, big news coming out of there. Ivy League not having fall sports, Patriot League not having fall sports. What do you guys think about this? Personally, my take is I understand the argument of it brings in a lot of revenue for the schools and whatnot, which allows these schools to get the top-notch computers, top-notch dorms, and this, that, and the other. But on the flip side, I also feel like you shouldn't be having these kids put their lives on the line when they're not getting paid. And then also, I think it's kind of shady. What is it? Ohio State COVID tested all their players and then didn't release the information about how many people had it.
Really?
I think it was Ohio State. I could be wrong about the school, but I could have sworn it was Ohio State. Didn't release how many players had COVID. So to me, it's like, to quote Shakespeare, something's wrong in the state of Denmark. It's kind of something's up. Something's up with that, in my opinion. Kind of like the James Harden thing that we touched upon earlier. Something's up, but it is what it is. I get not having it, but I get also having it. I think if they followed like the NFL protocols for football, I get it. Definitely no fans. Definitely no fans in my opinion. That's where I put my foot down for fall sports for college. Kids aren't getting paid. It's not fair to export them, especially at this heightened time of risk when they're not getting paid for it. I always felt like the NCAA, the way they operate and whatnot was very shady, and how, Chris Webber and the Fab Five, all their records and whatnot in Michigan got erased because somebody took money under the table, or even look at Reggie Bush, who just got reinstated. But all that happened off the court, that's not cheating or anything like that. That's off the court. Somebody wants to buy you a pair of shoes or buy you a new car. And it's not like you're throwing.
Eat for Christ's sake, like you can't go out to eat with people.
Right. It's not like it's not like you're getting paid to throw games like Boston College in the '70s, where Henry Hill was paying them to point shave. Totally different. So I think in that regard, I'm against it. But also, if it happened, it happened. I don't really follow college football. It's not my thing. I just don't have that kind of time. I work on the weekends. So, I mean, I hardly even follow, I only really follow the Giants in the playoffs and the news of the NFL just because of time. What do you guys think? Because I know you guys are more into college football than I am. Personally, I think other than college football, I don't know what sports are affected. I'm sorry, nobody's running to the TV and DVRing field hockey. I'm not trying to sound rude. Nobody's DVRing rugby. Volleyball is a winter thing. Basketball is a winter thing. So, I mean, Other than football, who
would.
cares?
So I have mixed emotions because I do hear you on the part where you're talking about just their health. I feel like the NCAA has made regards of trying to pay them for any type of endorsements or any type of like let's say they go and autographs or stuff like that. They are allowing them to get paid for stuff like that. So that will change. I don't know in how long, but that will be a change. But I feel like, in my opinion, I would say it's harder on the athletes if they don't play, because a lot of these players have the dreams of going pro, especially NFL. You don't really go play college football without the intent of at least thinking that you can go play in the NFL. So I feel like a lot of these seniors, is very important that they get to play this year. And I feel like the schools that aren't allowing them that chance hurts, because, you don't – and you can say the same thing about when the 2011 lockout. A lot of those players that were seniors that could have went to the league didn't get that chance and never really got a chance to go after that. Like I explained to you guys last episode, I had a coach that played for, like I said, Southern University out in Louisiana. He had a chance. He never got that chance because of the lockout. So I feel like this is very important that you give them that chance to at least play. And I feel like they can take the same protocol as the NFL, the MLB, NBA. You don't just take away, without them having that chance. So I feel like, and they could have done like the SEC or Pac-12. Well, we're just going to keep it inside our own little division. We're not going to play outside of our division. You could have did something like that. But to take away the entire season when you don't really know what's going to happen, I feel like it's not fair to those players. So that's just where I stand on it.
And one more thing about like what you were saying was like I feel like the eligibility years and whatnot is going to get very confusing.
Exactly.
Because then if this year doesn't happen, then you have the guys that are graduated high school this year and then are going to be graduating high school next year, plus
Right.
the guys that are graduating college this year, that on paper, in my opinion, should all be eligible.
Right.
So you have the class of what year is it? 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023, 2024.
Exactly.
5 years. Like it's very crazy. It's going to be very convoluted.
So then you're going to have to change the whole NCAA rule book that you get 5 years of eligibility now because of the coronavirus. That's exactly what I mean by that. If you cancel this season, by law, they have that year because that year didn't play. So now you lock it back. So now you technically have what you would call like a red shirt freshman. You're going to have all these RS players because of the pandemic.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, even taking it a beyond COVID, I'm surprised it's not in the rule book already that if a disaster or something impedes on play, like let's say a war draft, then guys should be eligible. But exactly. I don't know. Buddy, what's your take on all this?
I think it's just crazy. I mean, the fact that, most of the, that they're going to – I like how, like, if they have the chance to play again, if they didn't have that opportunity, I feel like then it would be like a whole different story. But the fact that, by law, they have that opportunity to come back, I think that helps them out tremendously. It's just, it's just a lot of things change the course of history or the future. Say we are able to play this year, who knows what happens. But like say like we will play next year, who knows where we would be. You know what I mean? Every life plan, everybody has their path in life, and it just depends where this would take us. So, but I like how they have that opportunity to have come back for eligibility. It's going to be a shame because like it won't feel the same. You know what I mean? I don't know how, because like kids go to school and these college kids that go to school and then they play football. Like I don't know how maybe it'll be different going to school and then or like not going to school and just I'm saying like working out and like just focusing on football instead of school and other things. Like they have less stuff to worry about. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I think that's it for news. I don't think there's anything to cover.
So I mean, just one thing I want to point out. Just remember, for all the audience, racial jokes are not acceptable, especially in today's society. People take them offensively, and they're just not right, especially in this time. So remember, think of what you say before you speak, and that is all I want to say.
Okay, definitely co-sign that. Treat others the way you want to be treated. Golden rule.
Exactly.
And I guess that's it. We're coming up on almost 2 hours. Wrap it up.
Okay, wrap it up.
All right. So, it was a pleasure being with you guys again this week. Last week, it was at Brandon's house. So I want to thank Buddy and the fam.
I'm glad you guys were able to come. Yeah.
And this week, obviously, as you fans can see, it's a Zoom call. I think this is probably going to be the format going forward, just because it's easier with our schedules and whatnot. And what are your any other closing thoughts, or is it the good old goodbye?
I would say this, people, we have to come together. We're all put on earth for a reason. I feel like we all have a purpose in life, and we all need to help each other and just love each other. We got to bring peace to this world, man. It's too much evil. So just want to say, love your neighbors. It's in the Bible. Love thy neighbor. So please just love each other, encourage each other, and just want the best for each other. That's all I have to say.
That's very true. Thank you, Josh. Yeah.
Okay. I'm D-Train.
I'm Buddy.
And I'm Josh.
And everybody have a great night. And we'll see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, guys. Take care.
See you later.